A couple weeks ago, I made my updated list of 100 reasons Minecraft Bedrock sucks. But that list isn't exactly the entire picture. See, in the last year, I've actually grown to love this version of the game way more than I did a year ago, so why not update that list as well, and give you 100 more reasons you should play Bedrock Edition. And surprisingly, the thing that's grown on me the most is the marketplace. I talked about it a bit in the last video, but in the last year, I think the marketplace is headed in the right direction. It feels like a lot of what does well or gets promoted now are things that are actually well made and no longer brain rot or like lazy maps. I've also really grown to love the front page. Kind of a weird thing to like about the marketplace, honestly, but since a lot of my content is playing marketplace add-ons, the front page serves as a way for me to see what is popular and what looks good. And on the same note, the rating system is also a great touch in my opinion. While I don't really look at the actual rating because half the time it's completely wrong, seeing how many people have rated something is my gauge for how good or bad it is. This one is also kind of a controversial one, but I actually love that the marketplace is super filtered. When I play something from the marketplace for a video, I don't want to run into something that like gets the video demonetized or something. So knowing there won't be anything like that is just nice for me. And since my content is a lot more marketplace based now, I've gotten to talk to a lot of marketplace creators and see that side of it differently. Before, I never really realized how the marketplace is giving creators and developers a chance to get paid for what they make instead of putting it out for free. I also like this little marketplace button. It always has a fun little animation, and I just think it's cool. It's fun. It's a fun thing to have. Overall, though, I like how Minecraft handles sharing and updating marketplace content. Like, if I buy something from the marketplace, my friend doesn't have to buy it as well to play with me. He can just join my world and play it. But if they don't want to do that, Bedrock also gives you the option to opt out of downloading the packs on a world. I use this a lot because I don't want my storage filling up with stuff I'm never going to use again. It's great. I also love how when something from the marketplace gets updated, it's essentially automatic. I've never had to re-download it or find it again. It just updates automatically. On last year's list, I put 2 marketplace related things that I think I've grown to appreciate more since then, so I'm going to also talk about those here. And the first is marketplace collabs. I played a lot of these for a video, and as sad as it may be, I was addicted to some of these maps. Playing in the world of my favorite shows or movies is just a soft spot for me. You know, I'm a sucker for that type of thing. And the second one is emotes. There's so many emotes, I can't even keep track of them anymore. But if you do some digging, you'll find some hidden gems that restore faith in humanity. But the best addition to the marketplace, in my opinion, is add-ons. If you don't know, this is Bedrock's version of mods, and over the past year, I've played a ton of great ones. Like Better on Bedrock, which changes how you get Eyes of Ender. Instead of killing blazes and endermen, you'll have to kill bosses and collect their eyes to reach the end. The Dwellers add-on is also a highlight for me. It was the first horror mod I played from the marketplace, and honestly nothing I've played since is compared to it. The best one in my opinion though is Realism Craft. This completely changes how the game looks and overhauls every biome, making it more beautiful and realistic than it otherwise was. I also think it's worth mentioning actions and stuff in this group. It's technically a texture pack, but it effectively does something similar to Realism Craft, overhauling everything in the game with new textures and animations to make the game feel more alive. And while we're on the topic, texture packs on Bedrock have so much more capability than on Java. I know I mentioned this in the last video, but I think actions and stuff is a great example of this. Like, this type of thing just isn't possible on Java. I don't care what you say. Like, this is an exclusive thing. I also love the feature of having settings incorporated into texture packs. Like with actions and stuff, you can change it to work with default textures or their own custom textures, essentially putting 2 texture packs into one. But with that little tangent out of the way, there are more features involving add-ons that I want to talk about. Like how every add-on from the marketplace starts with a book. When I'm playing an add-on for a video, I want to know as little as possible going in, so having a book every time to guide me through things things and like teach me about the mod is really nice. You can also still get achievements even when you have an add-on on your world. In my opinion, this is definitely cheating, but like, I think it's still very cool that you give people the option, you know? Overall, though, I just think Bedrock mods are way more accessible than Java mods. On Java, I have to, like, hack into the mainframe. I have to open 50 folders. I gotta, like, do all this stuff. Versus on Bedrock, I just download it and then, like, click it once and it's in my game and I'm good to go. And like I kind of mentioned before, playing an add-on with a friend is so much easier on Bedrock compared to Java for that reason. For starters, you can run a mod on a specific world. You don't have to have, like, a whole new instance of the game just for the mod, which also helps save the time of needing to launch the mod through a third-party app like you do on Java. This way your friend can just open Bedrock, join your world, and boom, they're playing the add-on right along with you. And my final thing about add-ons before we move on is simply the security around it. Partially why I prefer playing things from the marketplace is because I'm not worried about downloading something random from the internet and getting hacked or something. Now, a lot of what I talked about in last year's version of this list involved things that are better on Bedrock than on Java. And this time around, I have a ton more. So strap in, and here we go. For example, I think the creative inventory on Bedrock is way better than Java's. Java's is so confusing to me. There's way too many tabs, and not a lot is on screen at once, versus Bedrock's, which is pretty easy to figure out. I also think building in creative mode is a lot easier. Since we can hold down the button, it makes building stuff a lot faster than on Java, where you have to individually click each block. Combine this with some crazy potion effects, and we're able to build things that would take literal years on Java in minutes. You can also use your crafting menu in creative. 90% of the time, this is completely useless, but sometimes it's faster for me to just craft something instead of searching for it in the inventory. On Java, if you /kill at E, it kills you even in creative mode, but on Bedrock, you survive. This is great for easily clearing your world, but not losing your stuff or your location. Something I love doing in game mode, though, is flying around with an elytra. Since on Bedrock, you can just hold down spacebar and float up and infinitely fly around your world. And switching between game modes is also nicer in my opinion. On Bedrock, you can type an abbreviation with the command, but on Java, you have to type the whole word. It's such a tiny difference, and it's not really that big of a deal, but I always get annoyed when I use the Java command. And speaking of commands, I never understood why on Java, everything has Minecraft : in front of it. On here, it just says the word, because we already know it's in Minecraft, so we don't need that clarification. The command block UI is also a lot cleaner on Bedrock, in my opinion. I can actually understand what's happening here, compared to Java, which is just trying to look smart at this point. I don't even know what this is. It's also a lot easier to turn off the particles of an effect on Bedrock. On here, we just type true or false to signify if you want them on or off. For some reason, though, there are just more particles in the game, which in my opinion adds to the experience a little bit. For example, dolphins leave a little trail of bubbles when they swim around, and feeding animals actually leaves little particle effects matching whatever food you fed them, which that's just cool, you know? And similarly, there's actually no third-person eating animation on Java. I don't know how they missed this, but over here, ours works just fine. I also think that parkour is a lot easier on Bedrock. For one, when you crouch, you instantly stop, where on Java, there's some, like, slight momentum, which can lead to you sliding off the block. And also, when you slide up against a block on Java, your sprint stops, but on Bedrock, this doesn't happen, which thus makes parkouring easier. On Bedrock, we have a version-exclusive potion called a Decay Potion, which gives you the Wither effect. You can't get it in Vanilla Survival, but I think it's cool that it's in the game. This one's pretty cool in my opinion. On Bedrock, you can actually hit Llama Spit as if it were a gassed fireball right back at them. You can also waterlog more blocks on Bedrock. I will probably never use this, but for the builders out there, I'm sure they love it. This one, though, this one I love. If you have Frostwalker on Bedrock, you're able to sprint jump with it. I had no idea this was a thing, and honestly, I never get Frostwalker because I didn't think it was a thing until like 3 days ago. I learned about this, and this should just prove Bedrock is awesome. Okay. One of the items I use the most, though, is the fishing rod. Not necessarily for fishing, but for sweating on mobs. So when I learned that Bedrock fishing rods had more durability than Java fishing rods, I was ecstatic. Something I also never knew was that dropping an item on Java doesn't actually play any noise. It's dead silent. I didn't even know this was something I should appreciate about Bedrock, but it's definitely way better with sound. You can't lie. Achievements on Bedrock are also easier in general, which might not be a good thing to some people, but for me personally, I'm very thankful we don't have achievements like, how did we get here? Grass and snow biomes pops up through the top snow on Bedrock, where on Java, it deletes it entirely. This one, once again, very opinionated, but I think the Bedrock version looks much cleaner. Something I also prefer is being able to see the future trades of villagers. You don't exactly get all of the details, like seeing specific enchantments, but I still think it's better than not being able to see them at all. To be honest, I don't really know how this one works, but something I know is very popular is making these trident killer farm things. All I know is my friend made one on an SMP, and it was literally the best thing I've ever used in my life. I've got so much XP. You can also technically play multiplayer without Wi-Fi on Bedrock. It's a bit of a stretch, but technically, if you lose power or something, you can still log on with the boys using mobile data. One of my favorite features that transferred over from Legacy Edition is split screen. I legit have some core memories from playing split screen Minecraft, so I'm really glad it is stuck around on Bedrock. And one of my favorite things to do while split screened was use an invisible skin, and luckily that also is on Bedrock. On Java, invisible skins turn black, like they just don't work, but on here you can use them and troll your friends or something. I also love how you can change skins mid-game on Bedrock, and you don't have to completely close the game every time, like on Java. And on a similar note, I also love how to open Bedrock, you don't need a launcher. You can just open the game directly from your desktop, which is apparently not a thing on Java, which is kind of crazy. Overall, though, I just think Bedrock launches faster as well. For me, at least, opening Bedrock takes like 10 to 20 seconds versus Java, it takes forever. So, that's nice. Believe it or not, though, Bedrock does actually get some features before Java does, like the Happy Ghast most recently. The most notable of these, though, is vibrant visuals, which as of right now is in the full game. It's just an experiment. Alright, and the final thing I think Bedrock has over Java is the chunk loading. From my personal experience, it feels like loading in new chunks on Java takes way longer than it does on Bedrock. Alright, and that wraps up my section on things that are better than Java. But before we get into the next sections, I want to remind you to subscribe if you haven't. I make a ton of cool Bedrock Edition content, so if that sounds like something you're willing to check out, consider dropping a sub. Anyway, let's get back to the list, why don't we? In last year's 100 Reasons Bedrock Sucks, I obviously talked about a lot of bad things within the game. But since then, a lot of those things have actually been fixed, so I felt like I should give some credit to that here. And the biggest one is hardcore mode. We're finally able to play hardcore Minecraft after like 7 years or something. If you pause the game in single player, it actually pauses now. They also finally added a hotkey in the controls to take a screenshot. They added sharpness particles, which in my opinion look cleaner than Java's, even though they're a little bit different. They added somewhat custom super flats, and they finally fixed the new server UI so it doesn't instantly leak the IP of every server you log into. That doesn't seem like that long of a list, but all of those are pretty big changes that have drastically improved the game in my opinion. But one of my favorite things over the last year is events. I know I kind of roasted Bedrock's events in the last video, but I do love that we get exclusive access to them. Specifically, the Minecraft movie event, though, I think is way better than all of the past ones. I literally got addicted to this, okay? I maxed out all my gear within like the first day. I had a lot of fun with this. I can't lie to you. I also love how these events give you capes. I know they're not technically version exclusive because the Java people can still get them, but at least it incentivizes people to like log on Bedrock and check it out and play it. You know what I mean? That's the part of it that I love. And on an unrelated note, I also thought the Minecraft movie add-on and map were pretty fun. I may or may not be a little biased, you know, just slightly biased here, but let's just say They might have helped me out. Now, all of that is fun and great, but in my opinion, the biggest improvement to Bedrock Edition over the last year is the new UI. And I have so much to talk about with this, so let's just get into it. The new server page has a way more detailed look. Specifically, the description section is way better and gives more information than it did in the past. I also like the addition of giving every server their own banner. Makes them stand out like a lot more individually, gives them more of a brand, more of a thing to recognize, you know? The new escape menu is also very clean in my opinion. If you just kind of ignore what the player list looks like, the completely clear background looks much cleaner in my opinion. Clicking on someone's name from the player list now also unlocks a lot of new features that weren't in the game before, like their stats. They can be wrong sometimes, but I still find it interesting to see how much Minecraft people have played. You can also compare stats with your friends, which once again, I just think is cool. Something else I think is cool though is the new background thing on profiles. If you take a screenshot in game, you can set it to your background for people to see when they click on your profile. And similarly, you can also see every screenshot someone has taken, kind of serving as like a scrapbook for Minecraft. Some people also post these screenshots to the Realm's stories feature, which to me is like Minecraft's version of Instagram, but it's a lot more goofy and it's a lot more funny. You can also change the screenshot that appears on worlds. So if you don't want this to be the automatic picture you see, you can just set it to whatever you want. I also really love this new outline that shows if your world is hardcore or not. It just looks really cool. Like, this just looks awesome, and it helps me not accidentally join the wrong world. The new world creation sound is also super satisfying. Just take a listen. My favorite of the bunch, though, is the new Friends UI. For starters, you can now actually navigate your friends completely through Bedrock itself. You might have been able to do this before, but it sucked so much that I always just used Xbox Game Bar. But now I can actually add people and join their worlds completely in-game. I also like how you can see if people are online now, too. This didn't really work well before either, in my opinion, but luckily it's way better now. It's so easy to tell. But the best part is that the friends menu is kinda hidden. I know that sounds like a bad thing, but in the past I would have so many random people from my friends list join my world. But now, since you have to go out of your way to see who's online and who's hosting a world, not a single person has randomly joined me since the update. Alright, we are now getting towards the end of the list, which if you've watched any of the previous ones, you'd know we're at the miscellaneous section. Pretty much I don't know where these should go, so I slapped them right at the end. And to start things off, I'm just going to talk about Hive Bed Wars. Since last year's video, I've grown to appreciate how fun and well made this game mode is, and I truly think it's the best server minigame on all of Minecraft Bedrock, like ever. Throughout history. I also like how you can switch input devices mid-game. I feel like I don't appreciate it enough, and it's way nicer than having to relog every time you want to switch to a controller, for example. Now, I know this one was also on the bad list, but it's just so weird that I have to put it here as well, and that's the Idaho Cape. Once again, what is it? Why is it called the Idaho Cape? You know, why is it green? We'll never know, probably. I might have mentioned this one before too, but I do think it's cool that Bedrock has animated skins. Right now it's limited to the custom skin creator, but having an animated skin looks awesome. For some reason, if you have water breathing on Bedrock, you're just immune to all suffocation damage. So if you're ever in a situation where you're afraid of suffocating, I guess just use this. One of the coolest things though is that witch huts actually have a potion in their cauldron. If you right click it with a bottle, you can get whatever's in there, and usually it's a good potion like healing or fire res or something. Plus, if you put a splash potion in a cauldron, when you pick it back up, it will still be a splash potion. It's details like that that really do it for me. Like, you would think it would just be a normal fire res potion, but somehow they even save stuff like that. There's also some bugs in the game that I think are good, like this piglin bug, for example. When you break a gold block near them while they're trading with you, it speeds it up a ton. I think this is a speedrunner strat, but I see why, because it saves me so much time. Iron golems have a bug too where they can't walk up path blocks. It does make them look very goofy and helpless, but it helps me with killing them. I put this one on last year's list, but I'm putting it again because it's literally carried me in almost every video I've made this year, and that that is the bug where if you hit the dragon with a projectile, all of your hits do way more damage. I've really grown to appreciate it, once again, since I've used it like in every video I've made, and it's saved me in every video I've made. I also love this bug where fish on slime blocks just bounce higher and higher and higher until they reach the moon. Mobs, specifically baby zombies, can ride almost every other mob in the game. I've seen them on cows, on other zombies, and even on cats. That feels like they got zero limits here. This one's kind of fun. If you drop an item onto a bell on Bedrock, it actually rings the bell. I literally probably would have never discovered this if I wasn't making this video, but like that's kind of cool, isn't it? But anyway, we are finally on reason number 100 as to why you should play Minecraft Bedrock Edition. It's because it's a great game. Okay, what did you expect me to say? And it's only getting better in my opinion. But if you don't believe me, I get it. You know, a lot of people trash on Bedrock, so you might want to see more evidence to, you know, get on Bedrock's side. So if I'm right about that, click the video on screen right now to watch last year's list, or subscribe so you don't miss out on my next Bedrock video.